Yo, what is up guys, Boris here, coming to you guys with another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be going over something that's not really talked about too much, but something that is very important, and that is which characters you should try to level up their limit break sockets first, the best characters to do that with. In this case, I like to say Rainbow, which characters should do Rainbow first, and that is because once I limit break one ability completely to the max, I like to go ahead and finish off the character. And this is a really important video if you are especially a global player, because there's some really incredibly difficult content coming very soon to OPTC. And if you do not have this specific limit break socket max on a few characters, you might be in for a really difficult time. So if you want to prepare, you want to get ready, make sure to do what I'm about to tell you in this video, because trust me, the last 3 difficult dungeons on Japan have required this. If you didn't have it, you were kind of screwed unless you pulled the most recent legend and unit. So if you're a whale, probably no problem. But if you're a whale, you probably already maxed this anyways. So what am I talking about specifically? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at my rainbowed Marco here. And the reason you might say, why did I rainbow Marco? Well, 1, because I had a lot of dupes of him. But 2, even though he's kind of outdated, or he's not really outdated, but he's not really used that often, he actually has a really useful limit break socket, which is 10 turns of anti-heal removal. Now, at the moment, this is really important because the only other way to get rid of this is through a character like Rayleigh Kobe, and he's going to take up a spot on your team. A lot of times he doesn't fit. So having as many possible characters with this anti-heal removal is going to be very important. You want about 15 to 20 turns if possible, because that's sort of what the recent dungeons have required you to have if you want to have an easier time with them. Otherwise, you're going to have to struggle, and I'm going to talk about some of the best characters to do that with. Now, the reason I said Marco again is because he does get 10 turns, which is a really big deal. Not too many characters in the game give you 10 turns of anti-hero removal at 5. To give you a perfect example, let's take a look at another legend, a 6+ actually, which is a Law 6+ here. Really great unit, but if you look at his anti-hero removal, it is only 3 turns. So investing anti-hero removal tablets into him is not that good compared to other characters. To give you another example, let's take a look here at Nell, who is a great sub on stall teams, which I'm going to talk about. And here we go. If we look at his anti-heal, he does 10 turns at level 5. So you want to make sure that you're using those tablets on characters with high limit break or high potential for anti-heal removal. You don't want to waste those tablets like I have, because let's be honest, I've been having a tough time with these recent dungeons due to the fact that I've been rainbowing other characters. I haven't been rainbowing characters with the +10, with the minus 10 turns. So that's definitely something you want to look at. Now, I say specifically, Enel, this would be a great candidate to rainbow, or at least to limit break this ability fully, because of the fact that he goes really well on stall teams, which have been throughout the history of OPTC have been really powerful, and even now, especially that the main weakness is anti-heal, you can actually remove it. So this is a great, I'd say a great character if you could get that limit break. Now keep in mind, I know that in global not all these characters have limit breaks yet, guys, I know, but keep an eye out for those with the 10 turn anti-hero removal. You definitely want to have at least one of those characters rainbowed, or like I said, limit break ability max for that specific ability. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is, like I said, stall teams are very powerful. Shura Hoshi is by far, I think, the best character to do that with, because all you need after you max her is a Shura Hoshi friend captain with level 10 or with 10 turns, because she herself gets 10 turns. If you level 5 this ability on your Shura Hoshi, you find a friend captain with a similar level 5 ability, you don't have to worry about it at all. That's 20 turns, which is more than enough for all the recent dungeons that we've gotten. Now, of course, maybe in the future we'll need 30 turns, but by that time you should have enough time to level up another unit, which I have. There's another one that's really good that I'm going to talk about here in a second. But Shura Hoshi, this is the #1 mistake that I've made on Treasure Cruise, in my opinion, and I definitely should have started working on her limit break abilities a lot earlier. Now, in this case, she's definitely going to be my priority right now. I definitely need to max her, because if there's any indication, this is going to be an important ability from now on. Every dungeon, the past 3 difficult dungeons have had it, where you need this ability. And yeah, she's a must go, because double Shura Hoshi is insane. Even in the recent GARP 15 stamina, which was the toughest dungeon we've gotten so far, even they didn't let you heal, Shura Hoshi was still an amazing captain for it. So level 10, I mean level 5 gives you 10 turns on that 100% recommend. This is going to be one of the first units that you should try to rainbow, and I believe she was a pretty early limit break, so Global should have her, I believe. So if you can start working on her, you're going to have a much easier time when the difficult content comes, and that difficult content has some nice rewards. So I mean, it'll be worth your while to work on these characters first. And like I said, keep a look at, I mean, some characters have it, like Law doesn't have it, but there's one character in particular, actually I think Shanks has it too. Let's see, oh, but I haven't limit broken him, I look like a noob right now. But anyways, there's one specific character that I think, aside from Shura Hoshi, is also, you know, top priority list. And that is, let's say you don't have Legend Shura Hoshi, well maybe you have Legend Rayleigh V2, because Rayleigh V2 also does get 10 turns of anti-heal, and he is a great sub on a lot of teams. Let's say you don't want to run a slow stall team with Shura Hoshi, well you can run a Lucy team with Rayleigh on it, and you don't have to worry about the anti-heal because you have 10 of turns on him. Now of course, like I said, you want to get somewhere between 15 to 20 turns, so you could pair him, let's say you have your Rayleigh maxed, then you could pair him with another one that's actually pretty easy to max. Some rare recruits do have it, and Marco is one of them. Marco does get 7 turns, which is more than most legends at 5. So if you can actually get Marco to level 5 anti-hero removal, and then have Rayleigh as your legend of choice, who is a great sub on Cerebral teams, Lucy teams, all sorts of teams, then also you have 17 turns of anti-hero removal, and at that point you are pretty much good to go. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about when it comes to that specific socket. Now there are some other really good sockets that you want to look for, like for instance, going back, pinch healing is very, very good. It's just, I'm been surprised. At first I didn't think too much about it, but recently there's been so many occasions where maybe my captain gets silenced or chained, or I just can't deal damage that turn. I still want to hit perfects with these characters because they're going to recover. And on top of auto heal, you feels like you almost never die. So look out for characters with that ability. I'm not sure if Rayleigh has it. No, Rayleigh does not have it. But keep a lookout for that ability. That's been one that's really been impressing me. I think actually I believe Magellan has it. Yeah, Magellan has it. So anytime you're below, is it 30 or below? If you hit a perfect, you get times 3 his recovery, which is crazy. So really awesome. And the final ability, another reason Magellan only gets 5 turns of anti-heal, but I think he's a really awesome rainbow character if you can rainbow him, because he does get barrier penetration. So he has the 3 abilities that in my opinion are most important, and this lets me go through barriers at any health. Now in the beginning, any character does get better barrier penetration, so it's not that important to level this one up specifically, because even at level 1 you can still go through them, you just have to be at full health. So if you bring a healer like Marco, like Shura Hoshi, or even Mancherry, you can heal up to full and guarantee that you're able to go through the barriers. But having it max does mean that even if you're in a low HP scenario, you can still go through barriers. And that actually has come in clutch. At the same time, it is a double-edged sword, because let's say you're fighting against a great or a good or a perfect barrier and you hit it with Magellan, it actually goes through it, so it doesn't actually break it. So in cases like Coliseum Kid, or anytime you're doing some sort of end of turn damage like Akainu V2, the barrier will still be there. And that has actually screwed me in the past. So this is sort of a double-edged sword, but it also does come in handy in a lot of scenarios, in a lot of cases. Now, if we take a look at the last few socket abilities, I would say that those are the 3 best, but there's still some other good ones. I mean, for instance, Lucy has, I believe, gets completely rid of Orb Block, but that really hasn't been a huge issue. It was first introduced, I believe, with the Cavendish invasion, and I haven't really needed it that much since then. The reason that it's also not that important is because I do have Luffy X Ace, which is a great, awesome overall legend, does a lot of things, but one of the things he does do is when you switch between Luffy and Ace, you do get rid of Orb Steal. So again, it hasn't really been a big deal for me. I can just run Luffy X Ace if I ever run into that problem. You do have the color tablets, which do lower the damage, but again, those are very low priority. You don't really need them a lot of the times. They're just there to finish off your character's rainbow. And then there's a few other ones that, I mean, it is always nice. These are additional that are nice. So for instance, Enrage, so if you take damage the next turn you'll have bonus stats, and Perfect. what's it called? Critical. Yeah, so you have a 50% chance to critical, I think. Oh no, is it to do 10% extra damage? Yeah. So these are extra. I don't really need say they're necessary, but they are always nice to have, and they do some additional damage. In some cases, they might make the difference. But for the most part, guys, I definitely recommend making sure to prioritize characters like Shura Hoshi, Rayleigh V2, anyone else with 10 turns of anti-heal. You want to have, I'd say, at least 2 of those characters in your box. So that's another mistake I made. I'm definitely going to be working on my Shura Hoshi and Rayleigh V2 next. And then as well, like I said, try to have some characters with barrier penetration just in case you maybe need that. So I have a few of those that have it. I believe both my Akainu V2 and my Magellan have it. And the final one is pinch healing, which actually comes in handy, surprisingly. Well, again, socket that I disregarded at first, and I'm really starting to see how effective it is. So with that said, guys, thanks all for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to level up those sockets so that you're good on global. And if you're on Japan, I still think that's going to be very important to do so. With that said, guys, thanks all for watching. Until next time, peace.